Hey guys, it's Erin here. Happily we go, ready to jump into the creative flow. Can you believe it's already the 8th one? That's crazy. So while I'm flipping through my pages here, as you know, I need to choose 3 items from this journal. This is the Flowish journal that Tiffany over at Southern Gals Design sent to me. So I have to choose 3 things out of here to make my project today. So I'm going to choose that one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I don't know. It's just a lot of people's faces in a little yearbook, so that'll be fun. And then I'm going to grab that pattern paper, and that looks like it might be fun. It's kind of shimmery. We'll put that off to the side. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, so I think I'm just going to grab a couple things, maybe anything I think I might want to use on it, and I'll throw it off to the side. So I got this square black Dylusions journal from my friend Karen, and it's all black pages. It's my first time using it. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm feeling like this is the direction to go this week. Seeing as I don't know what to do, just jump into the flow. I'm gonna grab my gesso and my spatula here, and I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of little patterns and some designs here, and while I figure out what to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and set this off to the side and let it dry, and I'm going to figure this out. What am I going to do with these faces? Haha, I know. I'm going to cut out all these little faces. And it's mostly men, but there are some women in here, but I'm just going to cut out their little heads. So look at little strips. I cut out strips, and now I'm going to cut each little individual one out. Thank goodness for technology, so you don't have to watch me do all of that because it was time consuming. Now I drew out the kind of shape that I wanted, and I'm going to grab the matte medium and squirt a bit down, and then I'm just going to go ahead and glue on all these little heads. I bet you thought I was going to make you sit through and watch the whole thing of me gluing those on, right? Haha, surprise! So now that all those heads are glued on, I'm going to take my pattern paper and just rip a big old hunk of it off. I'm going to spray some sprays, I decided. First I was going to do this, and I thought, wait a second, I have this awesome box. I have this Planner Society box that I use for my sprayer. Whoops, look at all that trash in there. Anyways, it's perfect, so then I don't get overspray all over my table. So I'm going to grab a couple of Dylusion sprays here. I will link, or not link, but I will put everything that I use down in the description box below so you can figure out the colors there. And then I'm going to use a Lindy spray here as well to give it some shimmer because I love shimmer. So now that it's all kind of wet, I'm just going to flip it around and then dry it. And of course I won't let you or make you watch the entire drying process because that takes a little bit of time. But as you'll see, once it's dry, it has this awesome crinkly shimmer. I'm definitely going to be spraying pattern paper again in the future because it is such a gorgeous, look at that, isn't that so pretty? But it's like this yummy kind of crispy texture too. So now I'm going to bring my journal back over. It's mostly dry. It's still a little bit tacky, but mostly dry, and we're going to roll with it. I just ripped that paper into some strips, and I'm going to grab my matte medium, use my finger, smush it all around, and lay down those strips. I've been trying to work more intuitively and not plan in my head of how I want my projects to go. And as I'm laying down these strips of paper, it dawns on me, see the wrapper? It's the Dylusions tag on the back of the journal there. I totally used the same spray colors. So it just goes to show that you get inspired by anything that's around you. Whatever's on my desk is usually what I end up pulling into my page. And see, there's the truth to it right there. I'm going to grab a bunch of stencils here and kind of flip through and decide which ones I want to use. Again, I will put the colors of inks and the stencils I used down in the description box below. This was the orange Distress Oxide ink, and now I'm going to use some quinacridone magenta. And I decided to take this wrapping paper. It's like wrapping from a package, and use it through the stencil instead, because I didn't want a fully saturated color. I wanted it to get a little bit of texture, you know, still some of the white parts showing through. And I thought that would be kind of fun. Then we'll dry it up here, and we're going to set that off to the side and bring back the little person here, and of course dry it. It wasn't fully dry because I used too much matte medium. Got this Dina Wakley gal here. I'm pretty sure it's Dina Wakley or Dylusions, one of the two. But anyways, it's the Fabulous Gal, and it's the overlay, and I'm going to use her to trace around my little heads here. Are you seeing where I'm going with this, guys? Are you feeling it? And then we will go ahead, once she's fully traced, and cut her out. I kind of liked the idea of all of these heads making up one person, because sometimes there's so many voices, you know, not just on our heads, not like we're crazy, but you know what I mean, like the society, everybody, they're telling you who you're supposed to be, who you're, you know, what you're supposed to do, whatever. And I was feeling like, you know what, sometimes you just need to listen to yourself. So that is where I'm going with this page. So I filled in a couple of the little spots that were kind of missing heads, and I cut that out real fast just in case you were wondering. So now she's back on her page, and it's a little bit busy. It's a little busy. So I want to kind of frame her a little bit, and I thought, let's use some stars. We're going with what's near me, and I have this neon yellow pen because I love the bright colors of neon, and I'm just going to trace around it a bit. You know, not everything, but just a couple of the stars on the one side of her, and then we'll sort of flip it over and put a couple of the stars on the other side and frame her in. Now that we have it all traced out, I'm going to stick my little girl back here, and I'm going to grab a black pastel, and I'm going to go around the stars and kind of where the girl is. And what this is going to do is mute the background. It's going to push it towards the back and into the black. You're still going to be able to see it and all of the design features, but it's just going to make it not so busy. And I have to say that putting the pastel over top of those distress inks, the stamp pad, it made it black, and it gave it this totally different look, and I'm digging that. I'm definitely going to use that again in the future too. That's pretty cool. So you can still see everything, and the shimmers on that pattern paper, it doesn't show up on camera, but you can still see it, and it's pretty cool. So now here's another thing I got sitting on my desk. I have some wire here. Why I have wire on my desk, I'm not really sure. I'm just one of those people. So I'm going to take a needle and poke it through her heart. Oh, how horrible. It's so sad. But it's okay, we're gonna fix her heart and make her better. I'm gonna take the wire, and I'm gonna push the two open ends through the front, and then just bend that over in the back. And that way, there we go. So I have this vision of sticking her a heart there. But what I wanna do is, I started with this, I thought I was gonna do fluorescent yellow, trace around her outside, and it just wasn't working. It was I think my pen might be dried out. So I grabbed the black Faber-Castell Big Brush Marker, and I'm just going to go around the outside. This is going to cover up the white part where we glued it down and cut it, and it's just going to give it a bit of an outline, but make the edges look nice. Now that we got her all outlined, we're going to make this heart. And I found this crumpled up piece of paper towel, more trash on my desk, but I loved those colors. It was gorgeous. So I just matte medium that onto a piece of paper and drew a heart on the back side so I could see where I was going to cut. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And then it's going to leave us with this fantastic, look at that, the color, the texture, woo, I love it. But I want it outlined so it pops a little bit more. So I glued that onto just some white plain cardstock and then gave it a little bit of a matte around the heart. And now that we know where we're going to put that, I'm going to take just a double-sided tape, some Suquane tape, to hold down that metal wires so they don't flip around. And I'm going to grab the art glitter glue and go ahead and glue her down to the page. as I'm placing her down, I wanted to make sure she was framed around the little stars that we drew, but I also made sure that her left foot there, which is our right looking at her, hit that little spot there. It almost looks like she's stomping into the wet ground and splashing up a puddle of water. I don't know, I'm weird, but I just love that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take a fluorescent yellow gel pen, a neon, I think it's the Moonlight ones. They're fabulous, they're so vibrant. And I'm going to go around the outside of that heart, not kind of messily, I'm not, you know, being real particular, and then deciding how I want that heart to kind of come out. I felt like maybe she wasn't popping against the background, and so I brought out a yellow pastel to go around her. I'm going to take a dry brush and I'm going to smudge around that to sort of give her a little bit of a halo effect. And then after, I thought, let's put a little bit of that teal to bring in some of the color from the background on her, just to sort of dull off the black and the gray and the white. I'm not being real particular, I'm just sort of coloring, throwing it down, and using my brush to move the color. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab that heart and pop it up with a little bit of dimension, the 3M strips. And I'm going to fill that. I'm out of frame here, I apologize, but I'm going to fill the back there and then just pull off the little pieces and stick it on down over top of those metal wires, and that'll also hold them onto the page. Now I want to frame my girl just a little bit more, so I'm going to take a magenta fuchsia, I'm not sure what the color is, but it kind of matches that heart, and I'm going to outline my girly. Now, if you're enjoying my videos, make sure you give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love for you to be a part of my tribe and follow along in this crazy art journey that I'm on. And also don't forget to check out Tiffany's channel, Southern Gals Designs. I will put her down, her link for her channel down in the description box below. So I wanted my girl to, like the yellow, I wanted it to be muted. So I took a black pastel this time, and I'm going to go around her. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring her forward and push the background just a little bit further back, but also leave a bit of that yellow. So it's kind of a ghosted effect, I guess you would call it. I'm going to grab a white gel pen and trace around that as well. I'm just getting carried away with this tracing. I'm having fun. I'm going to have to stop myself eventually. And while I have the white gel pen out, I'm going to go ahead and just sort of doodle on some of the designs. A couple circles here and there. Then I decided to grab that yellow gel pen again and brighten up those stars. I didn't necessarily color them in. I kind of scribbled a little bit. I'm just going with what feels right. You know, sometimes it works, it doesn't work. You don't know unless you try. So I'm just trying here and we'll see what comes of it. After I put that black pastel around, I kind of smudged out my pink line. So I'm going to go around her another time. And this time I'm going to define the skirt a little bit, you know, make it look more of a dress, give her that, the sleeve at the end of her hand too, and just brighten her up. At this point, it dawns on me, I've only used 2 items from the flow. So I got to break the flow back out because I wasn't feeling the things I pulled off to the side. And I remembered this piece of paper in here. It's got the kind of magenta color and also that bluish color. And I thought that would be great to use on the page somehow, maybe for the sentiment. So I'm just sort of looking over, figuring out how I want to use it. And then I'm going to rip a hunk off. And I'm going to test it on my page, figure it out. I'm going to rip it down, and this is what I'm going to type up my sentiment on. So I'm going to magically hand type that on. And there is my sentiment. But I don't like it that big, so I'm going ahead and rip that little piece off there and flip it around. That's the fun. Test things out. See how you like them, where, you know, placement, what you want to do with them. But, you know, I thought this was the perfect sentiment for this page because I've got all those faces on there and stuff. And so I'm going to glue that down. I don't know if you can read that. With so many voices telling us who to be, stop and listen for the only voice that matters, your heart, which is true. You know, your heart tells you what to do, and you got to follow your gut. So there it is. Ta-da! Now I've used all three things. I'm going to bring back that stencil again and trying to line up where it was before. Boy, that proved a little bit difficult, but hey, we figured it out. So I wanted to pull that star onto where the sentiment was. I wanted to bring it into the piece so it didn't look like I just slapped something onto the top of it. So I'm going to bring back the gel pens, do a little bit of doodling. I decided I wanted to add just a little word onto the heart, a U, because you know what, that's you, be you, your heart. And I wanted to tone down the U because it was bright white paper. So a little trick is to take that dry brush and just dab it onto your pastel color, and then you can mute it down. Then I decided I wanted to ghost the sentiment as well and bring it into the page. I keep saying that, but hopefully you can see what I mean while I'm doing this. It's making it melt into the background of the piece, and it's muting down the whiteness of that page. And folks, that is going to finish up this layout this week. So I hope you enjoyed jumping into the flow and that you find some time to jump into your own creative flow. Don't forget to follow your heart, always be you, and until next time, happy creating.